In life, what seems like misfortune today may become a gift tomorrow. Just smile and say, maybe.
Once, in a quiet little village, there lived a humble farmer. He had only one horse, strong and loyal, that he used every day to plow his fields. One day, the horse suddenly ran away into the hills. The neighbors came, shaking their heads and saying, "What bad luck! Now you have nothing to plow your land with." The farmer simply smiled and said, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it an entire herd of wild horses. The neighbors rejoiced, exclaiming, "What great fortune! Now you are rich." But the farmer calmly replied, "Maybe." Not long after, the farmer's only son tried to tame one of the wild horses. The animal threw him to the ground, breaking his leg. The neighbors cried out, "What a terrible misfortune! Now your son can no longer help you in the fields." The farmer still answered, "Maybe." Soon after, soldiers marched into the village, taking away all the young men to fight in the war. But because of his broken leg, the farmer's son was spared. The neighbors whispered, "How fortunate you are! Your son is saved." And once again, the farmer gently replied, "Maybe." Have you heard this story before? Let me know in the comments, yes or no. The story of the farmer and his horse gives us a profound philosophical lesson that life cannot be judged by a single fleeting moment. When something happens, we are often quick to label it as good fortune or misfortune, as success or failure, as blessing or curse. Yet time always has a way of changing things. What once seemed like bad luck may open the door to a new opportunity, and what looked like a stroke of luck may sometimes hide unexpected challenges. That is why the farmer calmly replied, "Maybe," instead of rushing to agree or disagree with the judgments of his neighbors. In the journey of life, each of us has experienced this truth. A painful setback in the present may, years later, be revealed as the beginning of a positive transformation. Losing a job might feel like losing everything, but it can open the way to finding work that truly fits, or even awaken a hidden passion. The heartbreak of a broken relationship can cause deep sorrow, but it may also help us recognize our own worth, learn to love ourselves more, and eventually meet someone truly right for us. A failure in business can bring bitterness, but that same failure may teach lessons more valuable than any success. On the other hand, what we call luck can sometimes lead us astray. An unexpected sum of money may become a burden if we cannot manage it wisely. A sudden promotion can exhaust us if we are not truly ready. A wide-open door may lead us into trials harsher than we imagined. Everything has two sides. Nothing is purely good, and nothing is purely bad. Each event is only a fragment of the larger picture of life. The truth is that life does not always unfold the way we expect, and it is this very unpredictability that gives it meaning and depth. When we understand this, we learn to slow down, to judge less quickly, and to worry less. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What lesson can this bring me? What new path might it open?" Instead of clinging tightly to present joy or sorrow, we can step back and see that they are both temporary phases in the greater flow of existence. Life is like a river, always moving, always changing. No drop of water is final. No wave lasts forever. What we call luck or misfortune are only waves passing by, rising and falling, then giving way to others. If we cling too tightly to joy, we suffer when it fades. If we cling too tightly to sorrow, we miss the chance to see the light waiting ahead. Acceptance without extremes, neither excessive celebration nor excessive despair, is the wisdom the farmer's story teaches us. When we learn to look at life with the eyes of maybe, we find our hearts growing lighter, no longer so easily swayed by external circumstances. Everything that comes to us, whether joy or challenge, is only a part of a much larger journey, a fragment of a picture whose full meaning is revealed only when we have traveled far enough. And it is this inner peace, this trust in the flow of life, that becomes the key to walking steadily forward, to living with serenity, and to finding true happiness. By the time we reach the age of 50, almost all of us have lived through many turning points in life. There are moments that felt like terrible losses at the time, like a door slammed shut right in front of us. Yet years later, we realize that those very moments were the beginnings of something new, opportunities that would never have appeared without the shock of change. At this stage of life, maturity and experience teach us that nothing is purely good luck or bad luck. Nothing is entirely fortune or misfortune. Everything is subject to time and change. There are times when losing a job feels like the end of the world. Income is gone, identity tied to a career disappears, and fear about the future fills our hearts. Yet often, such a loss forces us to pause, to look inward, and to explore paths we would never have dared to take. Many people, after leaving a secure job, have discovered their true passions, started small businesses, pursued work closer to their values, and ultimately found joy, freedom, and peace of mind that their old positions never gave them. Some face illness, which at first seems like a disaster, bringing pain, hospital visits, and limitations on the body. Yet the illness becomes a wake-up call, leading to healthier eating, more exercise, and a deeper appreciation of each breath and each day still granted. Because of that, life after 50 can be lived with more quality and depth instead of just being a string of passing days. There are failures in business, investments, or personal relationships that once caused bitter pain and even a loss of faith in ourselves. But in time, those very failures prove to be priceless lessons that no school could ever teach. After such falls, we learn to calculate more carefully, to place our trust more wisely, and most importantly, to rise again with greater strength. In younger years, we are quick to label everything, eager to call it success or failure, luck or misfortune. But after 50, patience begins to replace haste. We learn to step back, to observe longer, and to realize that the true meaning of an event is only revealed with distance and time. What looks like loss can become the beginning of a new journey. What feels like failure can carry the seed of growth. What brings suffering may be the very road to wisdom and peace. This is why the most valuable lesson at this age is not to rush into labeling. When something happens, instead of sighing over bad luck or celebrating too soon over good fortune, it helps to quietly say, maybe, because everything belongs to a greater flow, a larger picture that we cannot yet see. What feels like a setback today may be the stepping stone of tomorrow, and what feels like success today may conceal a hidden challenge. When we understand this, we begin to live more lightly, more calmly, no longer carried away by judgment or worry. After 50, life is not about racing anymore, but about enjoying, learning, and reflecting. We learn to cherish each day, to face challenges with composure, and to let time itself reveal the meaning. That is the wisdom of maturity, the gift that years and experiences bring. And those who hold this mindset find peace in every circumstance, because they know that life is never absolute fortune or misfortune, only a series of opportunities to learn, to change, and to grow wiser on the journey of being human. If you've ever experienced a loss that later turned into a valuable turning point, share your story in the comments. Your experience might inspire and give strength to someone else. In the treasury of human wisdom, whether from different religious traditions or philosophies, we often find a shared message: let go of worry and live peacefully in the present moment. Jesus once taught, "Do not worry about tomorrow. Trust in God's plan." This teaching is not only for Christians but also a universal reminder that most of our anxieties revolve around what has not yet happened, and about imagined uncertainties we create in our own minds. We worry about challenges ahead, about whether tomorrow will provide enough food and money, about whether our health will hold, whether our children will be secure, whether life will suddenly change direction. Yet in reality, such worries are useless, for tomorrow has not yet come, and all things move within a greater order beyond our complete control. To trust in God's plan does not mean giving up responsibility, but rather living with faith that everything happens with meaning, and our true task is to live fully today, planting seeds of goodness in the present so that tomorrow will bear its natural fruit. The Buddha also taught, "This arises, that arises. This ceases, that ceases." This is the principle of dependent origination, which emphasizes that everything in life is interconnected. When this exists, that comes to be. When this disappears, that too will fade away. Nothing exists independently, nothing endures forever. A flower blooms thanks to rain, sunshine, soil, and human care. When conditions are sufficient, the flower opens. When conditions end, the flower withers. Human life is the same. Each joy, each sorrow, each event that arises is the result of countless causes and conditions. Nothing is random, and nothing lasts forever. With this understanding, we no longer cling too tightly to present joy, knowing it will pass, nor do we sink into despair when suffering comes, because we know it too will fade. This way of seeing brings peace to the heart and freedom to the mind. When we place the teachings side by side, the common ground becomes clear. Both Jesus and the Buddha advised us to release our attachment to what lies beyond our control. Do not let the mind be trapped in fears of tomorrow or regrets of yesterday. Instead, return to the present moment, the only place where we truly exist, where we can breathe, act, and love. When we live in the present, everything becomes clearer. We know what must be done right now to prepare for the future, but we are not burdened by the weight of what has not yet arrived. A person who lives peacefully is not one who never faces hardship, but one who can smile even in difficulty, trusting that all things arise and pass away, all are part of the greater flow of causes and conditions. A person who lives peacefully is not one without goals, but one who gives their best today while allowing tomorrow to unfold naturally. In a world full of uncertainty and rapid change, when aging makes us anxious about health, family, and life itself, these teachings become even more precious. They remind us that worry cannot make tomorrow easier, it only makes today heavier. Calm acceptance and living fully in the present is the true way to find peace. And when our hearts are at peace, we have the clarity to meet challenges with faith and wisdom, instead of fear and helplessness. So when life brings us anything, remember the simple yet profound words of the old farmer, maybe. Because none of us can ever truly know where an event will lead in the greater flow of time. What we call bad luck, loss, or misfortune today may tomorrow reveal itself as opportunity, as a turning point that opens a door we never imagined. And what we celebrate today as good fortune may contain hidden trials that challenge us and force us to grow. Life has always been this way, full of change, full of surprises we cannot foresee. When we were young, we often rushed to label things. Losing a chance meant failure. Gaining something meant success. A sad event meant bad luck. A happy one meant good luck. But as we live longer, especially after reaching the age of 50, we begin to see that life is not so simple. Time itself becomes the clearest mirror, showing us that everything changes. A door closing is not necessarily an ending. It may be the beginning of another door opening. A painful fall can break us in the moment, yet later it becomes the strength that steadies our steps. A loss may leave us empty, but the emptiness makes space for us to see what is truly important. Think back to your own life, and you will surely find moments that seemed hopeless at the time but later proved to be turning points. Perhaps you lost a job and felt fear and despair, yet that season of uncertainty helped you find a new path better suited to you. Perhaps a relationship ended and left you broken, yet the pain taught you to love yourself more and eventually led you to someone truly right. Perhaps an illness shook you deeply, yet it pushed you to change your lifestyle, care for your body and spirit, and enjoy healthier and more meaningful years afterward. These remind us that life should not and cannot be judged by a single fleeting moment. When we learn to remain calm through ups and downs, not too excited at so-called luck and not too crushed by so-called misfortune, we discover peace in the heart, and it is that peace which gives us real strength to walk through challenges. This is why we should practice saying to ourselves, maybe, when something unexpected happens, as a reminder that all things are part of a journey and their meaning only becomes clear with time. And if you have ever lived through such a moment, one that seemed like misfortune at first but later became a blessing, share your story in the comments. Perhaps your experience will become a source of comfort, strength, and hope for someone who is struggling now. Every personal story has value because it is living proof that things change, that sometimes in loss there is gain, in pain there is sweetness, in darkness there is hidden light. When we share these experiences, we not only help others but also deepen our own appreciation for the road we have traveled. Let your story become part of a greater connection, a reminder that we are never alone on this journey. And above all, live with an open heart, For today or tomorrow, whatever comes may be part of a much larger picture, a picture whose beauty can only be seen once we have traveled far enough.